G'day, this is Donna from Craft With Us and welcome to another video. Today we are making this lovely rainbow shaker card that I did in my online class. So once again, welcome. This is a little kit that I provided to my students, but it's also available for sale. It comes with everything you need: a rainbow of circles, 5 lots of white circles and some silver circles. We got some white card circles, a bit of bling that you'll need. These are little clouds, some acetate circles for the front of our rainbows, a black card and a white card, a couple of white matte pieces to go on top, and then a couple of envelopes. It also comes with this little stencil that I made for to make sunbeams. The only other things you'll need is you might need some foam tape or some double-sided tape, glue. I use mostly glue, I think. I use some Distress Oxides to do my shading, a Wink of Stella to add a little bit of nice subtle bling. And this is a stencil that was in, I believe, in the Eric card kit that when we made the for our online classes, but once again, that's also available. And that was a anti-static pad. So just to try and explain how this works, with the beads you should get 2 lots. There'll be 3 colors in one and 3 colors in the other. So in this one there's red, yellow and blue, and I need to make valleys, so one tall, one little, one tall, one little. So to explain that a bit further, you'll be able to see when I'm putting this together. So all I'm doing here is creating a rainbow of the circles with the purple on the outside. So the red is the second color, which will be my valley, but it's still in rainbow order, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple. So I've just put some masking tape over them to keep them all solid. This little circle needs to be readjusted a little bit. This is painter's tape. Folding over just one of those edges. Now these circles are about 4 inches wide. They're originally cut with some nesting circles that I have available in my eBay shop, but any nesting circles will absolutely work for these. So they're about 4 inches wide, the largest one, and I've just cut them about 2 inches. They're never totally perfect, but that's okay. So I'm going to now back some of these. So I'm using the purple is the first color that I'm going to back. Now I'm going to make a stack of 5 white ones with the purple one on the top. I start with the purple because it's the size that I want, and then I'm going to cut the white card so it's the right size underneath. Now the next one, the other half of that's probably not going to be quite the right size, but it doesn't matter, I'm still using it to stack. So I'll actually use 2.5 circles for this. But as I mentioned earlier, in the kit there's 5 lots of white circles. There's 7 circles in a set. So when I cut them out with my die cuts, the nesting dies that I've got is a lot of circles. So like the Hero Arts ones, there's a lot of circles in them. So I used every second one to give me, that's about a 1/4 inch gap in them all. So you can see that I've stacked all of the ones on the purple. I didn't stack any on the red, and now I'm doing them on the orange. And when I've got the 5 stacks, so the 5 white ones and then the orange one, so I guess it's a 6 stack altogether, 5 of the colored one, I'm just popping them underneath my phone because I want them to dry flat. So I'm not going to make you watch all of that. It's pretty dry stuff really. But here's the last one, which is the purple that goes in the center. So now we're going to use our circle and we're going to go back with our purple one. So this is nice and thick, and I'm going to just pop some wet glue on the back. You can use double-sided tape here if you like. You can also use foam if you wanted to instead of the other cardstock to make that stack. The only thing is that I find with the foam tape, and you can move it around well, but you've got to make sure that it's quite perfect and it doesn't give you the really nice firm result that using the stack of paper does. So you can see that I've stuck that on my circle. I'm just using some long scissors to cut that straight off the edge. No one's going to see that bottom edge, so it's not too much of a drama. And I am just going to use you can see my bone folder there to make sure that it's well burnished. So as I was mentioning, no one's going to see the bottom, so it doesn't matter if it's a tiny bit untidy, if it's not all even. Don't stress too much about that because we're going to cover it up anyway. So now you can see that I'm putting the flat red one. So that's making, so I've got the thick purple one, the flat red one. Now I'm going to go and put the thick orange one on, and that will have then made a valley between my red and my, between the red is in the valley. I don't know what I was saying then, getting all tongue-tied obviously. And now I'm putting the yellow in, and that will make it a valley, because when I put the green on, because the green is thick. So the colors that are left, the flat ones, so the red, the yellow and the blue, match the color of my beads. So they're the ones that I'll be able to put, that's going to be the shaker portion of the card. So I've just finished that, making sure it's all stuck well. So now I am going to use double-sided foam tape. So the double-sided foam tape that I use comes from Bunnings. It's about I think it is definitely 1.2 centimeters wide. I have folded that over to make it double thickness, and then I've cut a strip off to make it about the 1/4 inch gap that is between in each of these hills in the rainbow. And you can see that I'm just sticking that in there. I'm going to speed this up in a second, and just cutting a little bit off the top, off the bottom. So this is only, it's like a plug in a sink to stop the beads from falling out. So we're sealing up the ends of those rainbows. Okay, so now it's time to put the beads in. Now this is a little bit fiddly. Make sure you've got your patience pants on, because yeah, this can be a tiny bit fiddly. What you're wanting to do is, I'm putting all of the red gems in the red section, and you've got to make sure that they're the right way up. They won't flip over once you've got the acetate in, but you need to make sure they're the right way up. Then I sprinkled some of the stars in amongst all of the colors as well. Once again, I didn't leave all of that in to make you watch all of that. It's pretty boring. Now I'm just putting my glue. This is a very important part for my acetate. You can see I'm sticking that on. You'll see that I stick that on a bit crooked, but that's okay, because it's still covering the valleys where I've got the gems in. But what's really important is that whatever you use to stick this on, that it sticks well. So a lot of the time the double-sided tape is excellent and the best option. My glue, personally, I know will glue the acetate. If your glue will glue acetate, then definitely use that. Otherwise you would use double-sided tape around the edges. So, and just fold it around as you need it to keep it nice and secure. So you can see that I trimmed my acetate off. And now I'm going to get the other half of the rainbow that we put aside right at the beginning, and I'm going to take those 3 colors that are the tall ones, so the purple, the orange and the green. Now this is where we stuck it to the acetate on the other side, so to make sure we can't see any of that stick, we're putting this over the top, and it gives a beautiful finish to our rainbow, which is very important. You can see I'm doing that with the green as well. And then I'll do the little purple bit in the bottom. So you do need to make sure that the acetate is going to be all secure, because you don't want this falling apart in the post. I've popped that underneath my phone, and now I'm going to work on the background. So I'm going to start with some Squeeze Lemonade Distressed Oxide. I actually think that this needs to be re-inked. I'll sort that out. And through the Starburst stencil, you can see I'm starting in the corner there. That's the area I'm going to have my rainbow, and I am just having some color go out. Now I originally did this from a corner in my first card, but actually one of the ladies in my class yesterday did it this way, and it looked really good. So one thing about when you're using stencils, can I just say, just be careful, because you don't want to go too heavy-handed. A lot of the time it looks like you're not coloring, but in actual fact you are. So and so that's important to keep in mind, particularly if you want a subtle look like I did with the yellow. Now I'm just going around the clouds. You can see here, this is the positive space of the cloud. So the cloud stencil has a positive and a negative. If you're working on white, you want to use blue to have the effect of clouds, so you would use the positive space. If you're working on a dark color and adding white clouds, you would use the negative space. So there's our lovely background. Once again, nice and easy. This is the cloud that comes in the kit. So one edge is a little bit flatter than the other, and that's going to be the top edge. So I am just using my Distress Oxides to, once again, the blue, I think it's Salty Ocean, to just make some little clouds on the cloud to make it look a little bit, you know, more realistic. As realistic as you can make a paper piece of paper look like a cloud, I guess. Now I'm just putting a strip of, that's just the 1/4 inch double-sided tape that I'm putting across the bottom there, and I'm going to, that's the bottom of my rainbow, and I'm just going to stick my white little cloud on that. So you can see when I mentioned earlier everything was going to be covered, so everything's covered. So this is now some double-sided foam tape. I think on that there's 3 layers, just to make it all nice and flat. So moving over to my matte piece, I'm just putting some double-sided tape all around the edges of this. Now I like to do this before I put anything on my matte piece, because obviously it's easier to do it when it's nice and flat. And I'm actually going to then attach this to my card base. So the way that I do that is like I always do it. I'm just going to burnish that double-sided tape in to make it easier to lift. And see, that's going to go on the black card base this time. I'm going to pick up the tape in 2 corners. So this is the 2 diagonally opposite corners. So we'll actually pick up each piece of tape, and then I can use corner to corner to line it up. Because there's no tape on the other 2 corners, I can make it line up perfectly, move it around a little bit, and then just pull out the release paper, and it's perfect every time. Give it a quick little burnish again around the edges to make sure it's nice and secure. So removing the backing paper off the double-sided foam tape, and I'm adding a little bit of wet glue as well. And you can see I added a little wet glue to the foam tape. That's just in case I need to move it around a little bit. Gives me a little bit of wriggle room. Positioning my rainbow, and oh, that's so cute, isn't it? So that section there that I just pointed out is where I will eventually put a greeting. I've not been adding greetings a lot lately because I want to add the greetings when I'm ready to send them. So now I'm just going to use my Wink of Stella brush, and if you can see that it's beautiful. This is the clear Wink of Stella brush. This I actually get from Stampin' Up. I think there's other places you can get it as well. I'm not really sure. So, but you can see it gives a beautiful, subtle little bit of glitter. You can really see it in the still photos, and in real life it's beautiful. So just as a bonus, I've added these silver circles, so you can make a lovely silver glittery butterfly. And all you need is textures. You can use anything, watermark, you can use paints, you can use textures, just normal textures. These are Faber-Castell ones here, alcohol markers, anything. And you can color any of these circles any color you like. So that's for you to have a little bit of fun with. All right. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I really appreciate you dropping by and checking it out. Don't forget to leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd love you to become a subscriber, and please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.